The Jacksonville Jaguars were heavily favorites to win the AFC South this year. In Week 13, the Jaguars were 8-3 and clear-cut favorites to making the playoffs. Instead, they dropped 5 of its last 6 games to miss the postseason. The offense struggled in that stretch, scoring 20 or fewer points in 3 of the last 4 matchups. And one of the main issues with this team was the quarterback play. They selected Trevor Lawrence as the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, and many consider him to be a generational talent. I mean, he's your prototypical 6'6" quarterback with a strong arm. During his rookie year, he struggled. He completed less than 60% of his passes and had 3,600 yards along with 12 touchdowns and only 17 interceptions. But he was put into a terrible situation, with one of the worst hirings in recent years. I mean, everything went wrong with the Urban Meyer hiring. There was terrible decision making. In the offseason, Meyer hired strength coach Chris Doyle, who had just left the University of Iowa, because of accusations of mistreating black players. Meyer was also a problem off the field as well. There was a leaked video of Meyer touching a young woman's backside. There was also tension amongst coaches. Everyone was unhappy with how Meyer treated them. I'm sure any other quarterback would have played bad under Meyer too. But Meyer was eventually fired after 11 months. Going into the 2022 season, the Jags had one of the worst receiving corps in the league, so they picked up Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk in free agency. And the Jags brought in Doug Peterson as the head coach, who's known as a quarterback guru. I mean, Carson Wentz was the MVP with him before he tore his ACL. Peterson even won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback with Nick Foles, and not too many coaches can say they achieved that. So the expectation for Trevor Lawrence was to have a major jump in production, and he did. Lawrence started off the season slow, but in his last 5 games in the 2022 season, he threw for over 1,200 yards and had 10 total touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. And the Jaguars finished the season on a 5-game winning streak. Lawrence finished the regular season with 4,100 yards along with 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Lawrence would then face the Los Angeles Chargers in the first round and led the Jaguars to one of the best comebacks in NFL history. The Chargers were up 27-0 at one point, and Lawrence had thrown for 4 interceptions, but never gave up. He went on to throw 4 touchdowns and led him to a 31-30 victory. Going to his 3rd year, the expectations for this team and Trevor Lawrence were at an all-time high. With the addition of Calvin Ridley, many people thought this would be one of the best offenses in the league, but that wasn't the case. Lawrence and Calvin Ridley struggled to develop chemistry all season. This season, Lawrence regressed. He threw for 4,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. And if you look at his numbers from the previous season, there's no doubt he regressed. He threw for 6 more interceptions this season. The Jaguars even had a must-win game against the Tennessee Titans to secure a playoff spot, but Trevor Lawrence couldn't stop turning the ball over. Lawrence's season was filled with injuries, but at some point, you had to stop the excuses for him. Now heading into year 4, is it safe to say Trevor Lawrence is overrated?